Hey y'all, welcome to the Prolific Shift Sunday Sit Down, episode 13. I'm Janae Peters and I'm the founder, CEO, and all those other good things that let you know that Prolific Shifts is a project that I've started, an initiative that I'm working on, and I'm coming at you live a day before I turned 33 years old. So happy almost birthday to me. It's the last Sunday of Virgo season. 3 days left before summer officially ends. So happy almost end of summer to all of you, but we're still taking on summer for the next couple of days. And then we've got a full moon coming up too. So lots of big things happening, lots of big shifts in my world, in our collective world. And yeah, looking forward to today's discussion. So last week's question asked you, what do you give yourself permission to believe? And that was really thinking about, well, for me, remember, it was thinking about what it is that we choose to do that's maybe not really about logic, maybe not really about anything that society maybe tries to convince us, but something that we just allow ourselves, like that pleasure to do. And for me, that thing was allowing myself to believe that there is good in a lot of places and in a lot of people. And that continues to be an important one for me. And the action item last week was to create a commitment, intention, or action that supports that belief, like something that allows you to act on it as you move through the week. And that's a pretty important thing to me. Like, I think a lot about what we believe and then how our actions do or don't align. And so intention around those actions, I think, can reinforce those beliefs if we want them there, or can help us shift into things that may be more productive and more helpful to us. So that was last week. And this week we're moving on to something that I was going to say is more for me, and maybe it is something that is a little different, but again, always in the same vein, because when we are engaging in inquiry around making big changes or small changes or any changes in our lives, they're all kind of on the same wave, but maybe on different wavelengths at different times. So same vein, different area of inquiry. So this week's question, given that I'm headed into a birthday week, a new year, and a year that hasn't been without just reason for questioning, right? So this year has been the second year of a pandemic. I've gotten some news that is just always shifting how I engage with the world, and maybe also my confidence in engaging in the world, but not in a bad way. Just a lot of stuff going on. And so this question is asking us, what might liberation look like for you? And what are your wildest dreams? Might be another way to approach that if the word liberation is a little too far-fetched for you, which I hope it's not, actually. I hope liberation is something that you're always thinking about. But this question is one that I wonder how much we ask that of ourselves. Like, I think we believe in liberation. I think we want to be free. And I always think about, like, what would we do? And what would it mean? What would it look like to be planting those seeds, like cultivating our gardens now, so that when we achieve for ourselves liberation, and when we achieve collective liberation, right, that we know what to do with it, and we're not just sitting there stuck like, all right, now we're free. Now what? And to me, I don't tie, like, to me, liberation is a different thing than like free will or feeling like I can make decisions and choices over my world. But it's not tied into that for me. The answer that I'm going to give here in this space is not a fake answer, but it's not my full answer. I'll tell you that right now. But when I think of liberation, I really think of, like, what are the chains that are holding me back? And for me, one of the things that has waned in the past few years has been like confidence that there is something bigger than us, like not necessarily in that faith way, but I have been struggling to see my role in making big change, but also feeling this urge to contribute to things that are bigger than myself. So when I think of liberation, I think about moving forward and not worrying about who I'm disappointing and how. And I don't mean that to say that I'm not thinking about people and I'm not wanting a sense of responsibility. But what I am saying with that is I don't want to worry about what different actions are going to mean in different places, because I lived too long in that space, and not even consciously. I think that I have existed very diplomatically, and I think that has created some good relationships, has created networks, but has it moved me toward liberation? I don't think so. So when I think of what liberation looks like for me, it's moving forward in a mission-oriented fashion. So like keeping my eyes on the prize. And for me, that's liberation for Black folks, right? And that's with the belief that we... When I think about what would feel most like liberation to me, it would be knowing that I'm doing and have done and will continue to do all that I can to make sure that Black people are free, that Black people have the space to make the kinds of decisions around how we might exist when we're free, and that we're not beholden to where society has said we can be, or who lets us in, or who opens up an inclusion spot, or who has a diversity hire. None of that. Like, that's not liberation to me. Liberation is really getting to choose, like getting to experience who I am and how I am, when I'm not worried about work, when I'm not worried about what all these people think of me, when I'm not worried about how my actions might limit job prospects, anything like that. I want to be the kind of free that that moves mountains for real. And that's what I'm going for. And that second part of that question is sort of, what is your wildest dream? My wildest dream is for Prolific Shifts to be everything that I've imagined it can be, and for it to be something that's not tied to any particular institution or any particular person, but that Prolific Shifts in and of itself becomes a liberation oriented or liberation promoting organization focus, like something that's altogether different, that doesn't participate in what we know to be true of hierarchical structures or organizational structures. I want it to exist differently, and I know that means I need to always be asking different questions of the space, asking different questions of the needs of the people. And I am so excited to get it started. And one of the things for me is like Prolific Shifts hasn't started officially yet, but it's about to. And part of it was I was finding myself not being in a space where I wanted to start it from. I wasn't in a place of ease and overflow. I was in a place of overwhelmed with the start of the new school year, overwhelmed with some of my other roles and things that I was doing. And it didn't feel like liberation to start Prolific Shifts from that place. So I did what I needed to do to make space in my life for it, so that I could experience it from a place of abundance, because it's hard to hold space or create space even for others when you are not even doing that in your own life. So that's what I want it to be. I want it to exist only within the bounds of liberation, and not be a structure that is trying to cut corners around just sort of what we have known and what can be. I want it to exist differently. And that is a wild dream for me. Maybe not my wildest, but it's a wild one for me. So that's what I'll say for now. Liberation is looking like a lot of things to me, but it's really, really trying to not exist in a space where I'm just worried about who I'm disappointing. I want to be, and I want to feel my own expansion and feel my freedom. I want to feel playful. I want to feel a lot of things, and I know that I've experienced liberation for me when I'm feeling rested, when I'm feeling playful, when I'm feeling soft, when I'm feeling right, and then when I'm taking Prolific Shifts to where it needs to be, and not within the confines of what we have known to be true about how things and places exist, how they are funded, what they do, and who they support. So that's where we're headed with this. And remember, so the question for this week is, what might liberation look like for you, and what are your wildest dreams? And then the action item this week is to take one step towards liberation this week. Liberation as you define it, and build upon that in future weeks. So take a really concerted step, make a concerted effort to bring to fruition some part of what you imagine liberation to look like, or some part of what you hope for in your wildest dreams. And then, use that this week, and in future weeks, just think of how you can be building upon that. Because imagine if we're all working towards liberation, what that could look like. All right, y'all. It's been lovely. Happy Sunday to you. This is Sunday Sit Down, and I'm signing off. Peace, 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 and happy birthday to me. All right, take care, y'all. If you liked anything you heard, please don't hesitate to comment, like, subscribe, or support in any of these ways, and especially through your love and care. Peace, and I'll see y'all again soon.